What's going on, my PT peeps, my Walking Dead family, and my fighters? I'm One Eyebrow, also known as PT, and I'm back to talk about The Walking Dead. Spoiler warning for The Walking Dead show, comics, all that stuff, all things Walking Dead related, spoiler warning. We're going to talk about some things you may have missed in The Walking Dead Season 10, Episode 11. So we got Easter eggs, callbacks, connections, possible comic connections, all these different things, theories. Let me know your thoughts. Post your comments below. Did I miss anything? Did you catch something that I have missed? I always like to hear that as well. But first, guys, if you can, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you have, thank you very much. We have a goal of 100,000 subscribers. If you are a subscriber, make sure you ring the bell to be notified when we post videos every day. And if you want to become a valued member of the PT channel Walking Dead family, hit that join button. So right off the bat, did you catch the whole thing with Alex? You saw Alden and Errol talking about Mary and everybody coming here to see Alex. And people are like, who? Who's Alex? Well, it's a character we haven't really met, but he's been in the background a little bit. But he was a nurse at Alexandria. Now he's the doctor at Hilltop. So he's our last medical professional doctor on the show. So Alex, good luck to you. Hopefully you survive. And on a side note, they showed Earl a lot in this episode. And I believe we're going to see him a lot in Season 10, Episode 12. So will he die coming up? I don't know, but it could be happening. Did you catch the somewhat callback right here of this shot? You see the painting that's kind of red orangey. You see Ezekiel looking in the mirror. Daryl walks down, well, he limps down the steps, and you see the mirror right there. We saw it before in Hilltop, way back in Season 6, I believe. Who was looking through this mirror? The one, the only, Abraham. And you see his red hair, and you see the orange or reddish tail light. So was that a callback in the painting right there? It's definitely the same mirror, so it is an Easter egg for Abraham at Hilltop in my eyes. Remember when everybody was talking here in Season 10, Episode 11? They wanted to run. They didn't want to fight. They wanted to go away, start over again, get away from Hilltop, right? They were talking about leaving and starting over. And Earl was the only one that was like, we gotta fight. We gotta fight for our right for Hilltop, right? That's a far cry from where they came back in Season 6. Remember when they were talking about the Saviors? They were in the same room and they were like, we can take them down. We took them down PDQ, left them in pieces and puddles. Man, that's changed a lot from our group way back in Season 6. And then we see the paintings on the wall right there. I believe they're behind the desk inside the same room, and they're clearly the portraits of Maggie's family with Glenn right in the center. It's pretty interesting here. Now, this is just a theory. Carol is blocking out Glenn's face, right? She's clearly looking at the photos. And who killed Glenn? Negan, right? Obviously. But is that foreshadowing or telling, or whatever you want to call it, that Carol is the one that let Negan out of the cell? I'm not saying it is, but it's definitely a possibility. And I said it time and time again. I think it's between Carol and or Daryl that let Negan out. Hopefully we get answers next episode, and they really need to answer that. And no, it wasn't Brandon who let him out of the cell. Remember these two people? Well, it happened so fast. Yumiko's like, if you see the herd or whispers, radio for help, let us know ASAP. Well, here they are. That's Felix, and they're hanging around. The whispers came around with Negan. They blocked the road, and that is Felix, and the other person is Penny, which is kind of interesting. Penny was the name of the governor's daughter. I don't know if it's a connection or whatever you want to call it, but these two were hanging around, and they're so far up in the tree, by the way. But Negan blocked the road. He knocked down the tree or chopped down the tree, or at least told the whispers. We didn't see it happen, but that's what Daryl said. Also, when Daryl was talking about it's Negan, he's with them now. Did you hear the music? It was definitely the Savior/Negan theme. But who chopped down the tree before? Dwight. He used that same strategy to slow down Negan from getting to Alexandria. So it was a nice callback to that prior season. And I got a question here more than anything. This wasn't water that Rosita was drinking. It was alcohol. It was probably moonshine. But what was made of this? Eugene took a sip and he's coughed. He probably thought it was water. And it makes you wonder, why didn't they make Molotov cocktails and fireballs and fire bombs with the alcohol, right? Is Eugene so caught up on Stephanie that he didn't come up with a good strategy? And Rosita even said something about it, like, you've been up there for so long, you let that room turn into a mess or a pigsty. You can see the dishes and the plates behind him, and also you see the jar behind him. To me, it reminds me of the pickle jar. I'm not saying it's the same thing or whatever, but you know, it's kind of a canned jar type of thing, and it takes me back to a prior season. And what did you make of this? Clearly, Carol wanted to be left alone, and she went to Daryl's camp, and Ezekiel went to go find her, and he did, and it was a nice moment. But clearly, Carol was here before. Remember? Who else was with Carol? Carol, Daryl, Dog, someone else too. So did she go back to this spot on purpose to remember the good old days when somebody was there with her? I think so. Henry is the other person. That's crazy, right? Carol, Daryl, and Henry, and Dog, they were there in season 9. So it takes you back to be like, is Carol just trying to remember Henry? And what is she doing this for? She probably just wanted to be left alone, and she didn't want to be at the community, but it's kind of a nice callback to when Carol, Daryl, and Henry were there. Well, and Dog. We still haven't seen Dog yet. I hope he's okay. And to me, it's a nice callback. And I'm sure you caught this. RJ was wearing Daryl's vest and the sheriff hat. Pretty cute stuff, and I wonder what the future holds for RJ. Is it foreshadowing down the road, or just a nice moment? Hard to tell. And as for Judith, she calls for Daito. Come in, Daito. And I'm sure she's trying to reach Michonne. Daito is a Japanese city, but it's also a Japanese sword. So a katana is a Japanese sword as well. So I'm like, bing bada boom, that could be your call name. And I don't remember hearing that before, but it's kind of cool. And I have to say, I love season 10, but I do miss Michonne. And I really wonder if Michonne and Judith will ever see each other again. Maybe they talk over the radio, maybe not, but we'll have to wait and see. Either way, I'm super excited for the Michonne last episode. Did you check out the painting behind Mary? Well, do you know what it is? I had to look it up. I'm not the biggest art appreciation person, but it's funny because it's Mary Sears. You can read this whole thing, but Bonnet or Bonnet or Bonnet was the painter of this. Pretty interesting, and it's right there behind Lydia. But Lydia got Henry's armor. Henry was mentioned a couple times, and also the H+L that was engraved right here. Did Lydia just do that now? I don't think so, right? Henry probably did it. Well, Henry and Lydia probably did it back in the day in season 9, but I just don't remember seeing it then, but it was a nice callback to Henry and Lydia. Now, clearly they're setting up Stephanie and Eugene meeting, the Commonwealth story arc. Now, in the comics, the Commonwealth is in Ohio, and they still could be because they're going to meet in West Virginia, and initially I thought that's kind of where they were, but it's probably halfway. Did you see the marking on the thermos right there? Now, I'm not saying it's a Commonwealth connection 100%, but it's red, silverish, and look at the armor that they're wearing. It's red and white, and they have black on there too. Now, it might be a reach, and I'm sure the haters will be like, you're reaching, bro, you're reaching. But I saw a possible foreshadowing connection because the Commonwealth and these soldiers are probably coming soon. And I don't know when exactly, but hopefully in the back half of season 10, will Eugene run into one? Will they meet the soldiers? The word is potentially, but we'll have to see. I'm super excited for Eugene and the Commonwealth story arc, maybe at the end of season 10 into season 11. But the singing with Eugene was nice, and the singing with Stephanie was really good. And some say they stole it from Game of Thrones and Podrick was singing and whatever, but I don't know. Either way, it was good on either show. The Podrick singing was good, and so was Eugene. But the song he was singing was by Iron Maiden, When the Wild Wind Blows. It was pretty cool. Check it out. I talked about this one before. Daryl's looking at the graves from Hilltop, from All Out War. How did they get here? You know, it was definitely a connecting point when Rick was there looking at the graves of Glenn and Abraham before All Out War. And so it's a definite callback. All Out War, Whisperer War, Hilltop graves, the leaders looking very similar. Then we see this moment right here. The Battle of Hilltop. Takes me back to the Battle of Winterfell in season 8, episode 3 of Game of Thrones. Pretty interesting. I know it's very different, but it reminded me of it. Also, did you catch the Negan Game of Thrones reference? Bend the knee? If you don't know Game of Thrones, you don't know what I'm talking about. But Daenerys was all about everyone bending a knee to her and pledging their loyalty to her. And that's kind of what Negan was saying to Alpha. So there you go, guys. Do you agree? Did I miss anything? I probably did, But if I did, let me know in the comments, post your comments below. And I know the design on the thermos right there is a reach for the Commonwealth story arc, but it's coming. The soldiers, Mercer, the Commonwealth most likely will happen in the back half of season 10 towards the very end, if not season 11. Definitely season 11, it makes sense. So if you know the comics, you know what I'm talking about. But let me know your thoughts. Post your comments below. And for those interested in my zombie apocalypse book series, if you like the zombie stories and zombie apocalypse genre, hopefully check it out. Fight for us. Join the fight by picking up your copy today. All the proceeds from the book sales come back to the book series as well as the BT channel. Thank you guys for watching, and tell them, Daryl.
Yo, we love you guys. Honestly, thank you.